this campaign moves forward to the Crescent City, the Motor City, and beyond. We're going to work for every vote, and we will need all of you to keep volunteering, contributing, doing everything you can, talking to your friends and neighbors, because this country belongs to all of us, not just those at the top. Not just to people who look one way, worship one way, or even think one way. America prospers when we all prosper. America is strong when we're all strong. And we know we've got work to do. But that work is not to make America great again. America never stopped being great. We have to make America whole. We have to fill in what's been hollowed out. We have to make strong the broken places, restitch the bonds of trust and respect across our country. Now, it might be unusual, as I've said before, for a presidential candidate to say this, but I'm going to keep saying it. I believe what we need in America today is more love and kindness. Because you know what? You know what? It works. Instead of building walls, we're going to break down barriers and build ladders of opportunity and empowerment so every American can live up to his or her potential, because then and only then can America live up to its full potential too. Now, it's clear tonight that the stakes in this election have never been higher, and the rhetoric we're hearing on the other side has never been lower. Trying to divide America between us and them is wrong, and we're not going to let it work. You know, whether we like it or not, we're all in this together, my friends. And we all have to do our part. But unfortunately, too many of those with the most wealth and the most power in this country today seem to have forgotten that basic truth about America. You know, yesterday I was at the Old South Meeting House in Boston, where nearly 2.5 centuries ago, American patriots organized the original Tea Party. And I had to wonder what they would make of corporations that seem to have absolutely no loyalty to the country that gave them so much. What would they say about student loan companies that overcharge young people struggling to get out of debt? Even young men and women serving our country in the military, or corporations that shift their headquarters overseas to avoid paying their fair share of taxes. Like Johnson Controls, an auto parts company from Wisconsin that all of us, we taxpayers, helped to bail out with the auto rescue back in 2008. Now they're turning their back on America. Now, I'm not interested in condemning whole categories of people or businesses. I'm just interested in making things right. So let there be no doubt. If you cheat your employees, exploit consumers, pollute our environment, or rip off the taxpayers, we're going to hold you accountable. But if you do the right thing, if you invest in your workers and in America's future, then we'll stand with you. We all need to work together to break down the barriers holding back our families and our country, because the middle class needs a raise. And more good jobs, jobs that pay enough for a family to live on. Even put a little away for retirement, jobs that provide dignity and a bright future. That's why we have to invest in manufacturing and infrastructure and small business and clean energy. Enough clean energy to power every home in America. Don't let anybody tell you we can't make things in America anymore, because we can, we are, and we will. And together we can break down the barriers that face working class families across America, especially in struggling Rust Belt communities and small Appalachian towns that have been hollowed out by lost jobs and lost hope. Families who for generations kept our lights on and our factories running. Together we can break down barriers for our kids so they get the education they need and deserve. Every child in America should have a great school and a great teacher, no matter what zip code they live in. Together, we can break down barriers for women and finally guarantee equal pay for equal work. We can break down barriers for families who've seen too many black children harassed, humiliated, and even killed. We can break down barriers for voters in North Carolina who've been systematically disenfranchised and disempowered. We can break down barriers for hardworking immigrants everywhere who are too often exploited and intimidated. We have to defend all our rights, workers' rights and women's rights, civil rights and voting rights, LGBT rights and rights for people with disabilities. And that starts by standing with President Obama when he nominates a strong, progressive justice to the Supreme Court. I know too many Americans have lost faith in our future. We hear it in the voices of parents who don't know how they're going to give their kids the opportunities they deserve. We see it in the eyes of working men and women who don't expect anything to come easy, but wonder why it has to be quite so hard. Like many of you, I find strength and purpose in the values I learned from my family and my faith. They gave me simple words to live by, an old Methodist saying, do all the good you can for all the people you can for as long as you can. And that is why. That is why I believe deeply that if we resist the forces trying to drive us apart, we can come together to make this country work for everyone, the struggling, the striving, and the successful. If we all do our part, we can restore our common faith in our common future. That's the spirit powering this campaign. It comes from the young janitor in Arkansas who stopped buying junk food and put off getting a haircut so he could contribute to it. It comes from the disabled combat veteran from Nebraska who sent in $10. In 70 years of his life, he had never donated to a political campaign until now. You can join us too. Please Go to HillaryClinton.com, make a donation, text JOIN to 47246, and let me leave you with a story.
And as a result, many only hear about Muslims and Islam from the news after an act of terrorism or in distorted media portrayals in TV or film, all of which gives this hugely distorted impression.